and welcome to I Am Making You Watch This. Angela, we're podcasting.
It's happening.
We've started. We're in your bedroom.
I'm in my nook. I'm looking at my framed supernatural pictures, and I'm thinking, what am I doing?
Where did we go wrong?
How did we come to this? What chain of events? But you know what? I'm loving it already.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I never for an instant thought that this was a bad idea. I think this is a great idea. As long as we're having a fun time, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And I think if people hear us having a good time, they're going to feel good stuff too, right?
I know at least two of my friends are going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Listening to this.
Sure. So we met the other day and we decided that we wanted to do something that would just be an easy premise to keep up with. I think we've got a loaded premise, which is we're calling it I'm Making You Watch This, which is each of us for every episode. I won't say each week because we may do this once a month or 3 times a day. Who knows? We'll bring in something that we are very passionate about. It's going to be either a movie or a TV show or reality TV, if you're Angela.
Yes. Many times, yes.
And we're going to force the other person to watch it and then give their thoughts on their experience watching it, what their initial impressions were about it, and then the other person will have the opportunity to express why they love this thing so much and why it was so important that they had to foist it onto the other person. So yeah, we went ahead and picked a couple different selections for each other, which I think both of us were, I think both of us have had our horizons broadened to an extent. Maybe one of us more than the other.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's a little one-sided statement.
One of us is a little bit more out of his wheelhouse than the other. You know, it was, I think it was an experience for sure. So here's what we picked. So I made Angela watch the pilot for the ABC TV show Lost, which is low-hanging fruit. It's not, I won't say universally, but it's generally considered by a lot of people, the pilot at least, to be one of the greatest pilots ever made.
I feel like this is like a good start to this podcast. Something nice to ease into, basically.
Right. It's most people have seen it, you being the exception.
Yeah. Until
now. But it's definitely falls under that category of this is something that people should see.
Yeah.
People should have seen this. It was so culturally significant. It was everywhere for a while. While it was on, it was the biggest thing on. It sort of was towards the beginning of like what we call this peak TV time, which catapulted a lot of this obsession over TV shows. So I picked Lost, and then Angela, would you like to share what you made me watch?
Yes. I, this week, want to start out with a bang, and I have just a love for reality TV, and I'm sorry, you're going to be watching a lot of reality TV over the course of this. I've been dogged for it in the past, but I will not apologize. I am a nurse, and I don't know if this has anything to do with my pick, but I picked My 600-Pound Life on TLC, and I've talked about it with my friends, you know, outside of this room, and they all have just the same reaction to me. I mean, they roll their eyes and they call me a freak, but there's just something about the show that I don't know, I'm really drawn to. But I mean, we'll definitely go into that later, but for sure it is definitely a good watch, in my opinion, for sure. I mean, hey, there's like 4 or 5 seasons. Hey.
Okay, well, I did a little bit of you made me watch a specific one.
I guess I picked this particular one. I picked Penny's story in particular for you, only because she ends up being basically non-compliant to the doctor's orders. And for me, I love that. I eat it up. It cracks me up. When people make excuses, I enjoy it. But the other episodes in the series, you know, I mean, the majority is people succeeding and losing, like, you know, 200 plus pounds. But I figure let's watch not so much a success story.
Yeah, well, let's talk about. So the basic premise of this show is
basically it's
they find a person who is over 600 pounds, which that was my first beef, was this woman was not over 600 pounds. She's only 5'30". So the premise is out the window immediately. My first complaint.
Okay, the title is wrong. Okay, sure. The majority of the people on this show are not 600 pounds. Okay, fair.
You think the one thing in this world you could rely on is the integrity of the Learning Channel, as it's auspiciously called. Actually, I think they got rid of that. They did like the AMC thing where they no longer, it's like, or Kentucky Fried Chicken, like they only go by KFC or AMC because they're no longer just that thing anymore.
Oh, really?
Like AMC isn't the
American movie
channel. It's just AMC.
Ah.
Because they don't.
What did TLC used to play before, like, all these baby shows?
Didn't they? I feel like it was like all those like eyewitness like kids documentaries. Does that sound right? It probably was like what like Discovery Channel or History Channel used to be. I don't remember.
I think you're right, but
we're gonna pretend like it's because we're not old enough to remember, but we are.
Well, now I just call it the Little Channel now because it's a show about channel just mostly about little people.
Yeah, Little People, Big World.
Yeah.
I saw the Roloff family in the Houston airport one time.
Did you?
I saw. It was weird about it, and what's a little bit creepy was the person who I recognized was, I think, one of the regular sized sons. And I was like, who's that? I know that
like
kid
the cute one
from somewhere. Well, like just I didn't see like a little person and think, oh, hey, it's the
yeah.
I saw like the kid who I was like, I've seen that kid somewhere before, and then I saw the mom next to him, and I was like, wait a second. So yeah, TLC still around, I guess.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so my 600-pound life. You picked this episode about Penny. Mm-hmm. Penny Sager, I think was her name. Mm-hmm. Season 2, episode 3, which after reading like reviews, or like I went online afterwards after watching it because, like you said, she's a woman who is sort of an outlier within the show, right? She's like the one person who doesn't do what she's told.
Yeah, basically.
She like lives in denial of like the process of, because she starts with I'm gonna get the surgery wrong, but it's like it's a sleeve, right? It's shrinking her stomach.
Basically, yeah.
She gets that surgery, which for that to work, you have to follow it up with like a very stringent diet.
Yes, yeah,
and all that,
for sure.
Which she does not comply with. But that's like typically on the show, that's not what happens.
Right.
Most people,
they follow the diet guidelines. They exercise and they have the support. They go to therapy, that kind of a thing, and they eventually get to a place where they want to be. Yeah.
So for what we had discussed to be like a comedy podcast, you picked the darkest, most dour version of this show. It is, which I love. That's great. That's perfect.
I'm really setting a tone here. Yeah. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a quick like synopsis of the thing. Basically, obese person wants to lose weight, so they go to this one specific doctor, Dr. Nazardin, who operates in Houston, and they just basically have a procedure, and then it just documents their life pre and post procedure for about a year, and just chronicles their weight loss journey. And so that's what the whole series is about, and each episode is a different person. And so Penny, non-compliant, makes for really good TV, I think.
It was emotional. The whole thing was just like an emotional like roller coaster. And then like I was like, oh, you do kind of get to where you're like, at a certain point you just have to be like, she's doing this to herself. Like this is completely her being a terrible like victim person, kind of like victimizing herself and all that sort of thing. And then like you go and read about like this episode online, and it like pops up as like the episode that everybody was like, oh, everybody hates Penny, everybody hates this woman.
Really?
She did. Yeah. And then like in the show, in that episode, they had to like fundraiser thing and like get money from friends and stuff like that to afford to do the surgery, because like the dad wasn't working, he was just taking care of.
They were living off of her disability.
Right, and he's just a full-time caregiver. And after like the show's aired and stuff, he goes and tries to do another GoFundMe, and I found it because it's still up there. And it's gotten like $200 or something like that. Or like maybe like, I don't know, it's something really low. And there's just a whole bunch of like really like
hateful comments.
Yeah, I was just like, how dare you? This woman, just blah, blah, blah.
Dang, I love how you
deserve it. And,
did your research afterwards. That's very.
I mean, I don't care.
Magnet.
I mean, like, I'm not interested in the show.
You're not invested at all. My God.
It's consuming.
What did you think about the describe the scenes of her daily life in the beginning of the show? They typically.
So, the first red flag was it says TV PG, and then it says this will show actual surgeries, which is
PG?
a bit. That's what it says. But I think TV ratings are different than movie ratings.
Okay.
Because it's like TVG, I don't know, TV PG, parental guidance, whatever. It shows surgeries, which was a big turnoff for me to begin with. I don't like pass out when I see blood, but like empathetically feel like if you're cutting into somebody's stomach, I'm like, my stomach.
Okay, so you're a wuss.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. But anyways, so she weighs 530 instead of 600. Immediately disappointed in
You
that
felt
regard.
gypped.
But also, too, I was thinking, like, okay, so there's multiple episodes of this. Like, it's this same story every time. Like, it's such, like, a draining kind of a show because at least this... I mean, again, this episode may just be an outlier, but it just starts in this really low place, and it never really has... It doesn't have that many high moments. There's not a lot of peaks in it. It stays at a pretty dark kind of failure of mankind.
Yeah.
place. And but yeah, no, so then it gets immediately, I don't know if she just was really comfortable with the camera or if there's a lot of things blurred because, well, she just doesn't wear underwear the whole time.
Right.
She just, by necessity, because she doesn't leave the bed. She literally can't get out of the bed.
You know, it's not just her. Other episodes, I don't know how comfortable these people are, but every episode, or I don't know if like the producers are like, we have to see your crack or whatever, but like every episode, they're just like flashing their junk. Like I get they have to document real life or whatever, but
is that like a common like factor you think with obese people who, or maybe people who are constantly under the care of another person, that their modesty is just out the window?
Okay, sure.
Because there's always eyes on them. There's always somebody having to do that with it. I mean, I guess generally speaking, it's a family member, not
all of America.
Right. Because the whole country watches this show.
Hey now.
No, just nurses who can't get enough. Can't get enough of this dynamic.
My escapism from the nursing world is to just go home and watch more caregiving and more nursing.
Just more extreme versions of your job. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of blurring, as you say.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's her husband Edgar,
who I think, you know, in Aladdin, you remember when the genie turns himself to look like Rodney Dangerfield in that one scene?
Because he's got a walleye. Is that called walleye?
A walleye?
Walleye. No, that's kind of fish. I think that's what's walleye. It's got a lazy eye. He's got a
yeah. He does. He's very genie as Rodney Dangerfield,
right? To me,
or Cousin Eddie.
Or he's tugging on the tie.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's definitely a part of the problem. He's an enabler for his queen.
His queen.
I don't understand. Maybe that's the reason the show exists, is trying to open up this world. But like, I don't understand how anybody gets to that point. I don't mean just the obesity thing, but gets to that kind of a relationship where I don't see how you could stay around somebody like that with that kind of like a toxic mentality of
they freaking
killing themselves. I mean, they're killing themselves in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
They freaking got together after. I think they moved in together after 4 months of dating, and just the fact that they're still together, even with him as still the caregiver. I mean, I think that's
true love.
True love. Ah, yes.
But I guess you could say it's with any sort of addiction that's sort of that's. I'm not gonna say it's commonplace, but it's definitely not unique. It's not a unique relationship with the victim and the enabler and all that. And you know what? This may get cut. Who knows? But I will say I did have an initial reaction just to reveal my own biases and prejudices and all that. But I did have an initial reaction when I heard her speaking where I was like, oh, she sounds normal. Like she doesn't sound...
Pat?
There's that Patton Oswalt does a bit. He talks about like him being overweight and talking about how he's just under like the weight limit to where his B's start sounding differently.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Instead of saying like bacon, a morbidly obese would say bacon.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So maybe I was expecting more of like a cartoon, which revealed an inherent flaw in my own perception of the world. So, what? I'm learning. I'm growing as a person from this.
Hey, we don't have to be perfect on this podcast. Yeah. The listeners can understand that we're terrible people.
It's 2017. We're going to try to remember it's 2017, but all 4 of you that are listening,
Kayla,
you can write to us.
You know our phone numbers. But I don't know. I feel like I feel like you can really dig in there, Steven. I feel like you got some punches that you're holding back.
So yeah, it's an interesting. It opens up a lot of questions about like blaming people for this, blaming people for their lifestyles, of genetics versus life choices. Are people more inherently likely to be this way, or does one beget the other? Is chicken and egg kind of a thing? Mm-hmm. I think the show frames it to where they blame her. I would say the show frames it to where they don't paint her as like a bad guy, because obviously she's doing it to herself, and I guess peripherally to her family. But they don't sympathize with her at all. It's not edited in a way where you feel sorry for her.
Nope.
They're really, and I wonder if it too, because I didn't realize until the end that, so it's this one doctor for every episode.
Yeah.
And he's like he's like an EP on the show.
Yeah.
It like is framing him as like the hero of the show.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like it's trying to show this doctor now, as I saw he is on, in the lingo. Mm-hmm. Jeez Louise. As being, hey, I did it. Where is he from?
I don't know, actually. I should have looked that up.
But anyways, yeah, it definitely frames him as being, I did everything I could. I washed my hands clean of this by the end.
Yep.
So, and I mean, honestly, like when I Googled it afterwards, I was looking, is she still alive? Like, is she still around?
Yeah. Because
they kept chiming in on this thing. It's like, she's going to be dead within a year or within 5 years or whatever, because she wouldn't stick to this dietary regimen or whatever. So, anyway.
Spoiler alert, she's still fat.
Yes.
Yes.
She's still. I didn't know that there was a hierarchy in obesity. So there's like obese, there's morbidly obese, and then there's
super obese.
Super morbidly obese.
What do you think's after that? Like mega, ultron obese?
Humpback, sperm, blue. There was definitely, I mean, being from Louisiana, there was a part of me when I heard that they're from Maryland, that I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Oh. I'm trying. There is an episode where someone was from Louisiana. I think they're from like Iberville or something.
Yeah.
But that was only like Louisiana person I saw. So hey.
Yeah. But I mean, the South in general, I'm sure it takes the cake for a lot of it. I saw recently there was a map that showed the correlation between, I think it was like, heart attack. Heart attack. What does that fall under? Is like an umbrella, like cardiac events or something. What do you call that? Anyways, it was they compared that to regionally where Waffle Houses are located in the country.
Seriously?
They were both in the same area, which makes sense.
I've never been to a Waffle House sober.
Waffle House is, by law, I would say, not as good outside of the hours of midnight and 6 a.m.
If the sun's out, don't even try it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just sticky menus
it is.
and faces you don't want to see. But about 3 a.m., when the booth behind you has a couple meth heads and...
sitting next to some cops.
Yeah.
For sure. Those waffles are damn good.
Give me that all-star special.
Yeah.
Top off my coffee. So she gets surgery. And this made me think, too, like, because I always wonder about, like, documentaries and the people that make documentaries, and this is a docu-series.
Yeah.
Is there, like, an unwritten documentarian's code where... any sort of a subject that deals with life and death situations or people who are spiraling down a drain, like that, it's like this, is it like an unwritten thing? Do you swear an oath to say, like, I am only going to observe, I will not interfere with this, I'm just here to document what's happening?
Why?
Because I caught myself thinking, like, if I were the camera guy, like watching somebody make all these terrible mistakes.
Oh, you would feel like if you were in that position, like the moral side of
it's like you drop the camera and be like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Get your life together.
Yeah,
like you would have the subtitles and the sound would be all muffled and stuff.
Right. See, like the last season of The Office. Yeah.
Oh, don't even bring that up.
Oh
my gosh. Anyway, yes, but that is a perfect example.
We're gonna start a new podcast about The Office post Steve Carell. We're only gonna watch those episodes. give our thoughts and opinions. Which do you think is the bigger like delineator for that show? Is it post Jim and Pam getting together, spoilers, or post Steve Carell leaving? Which do you think is like the line of demarcation?
I think honestly both, but more so probably when Steve Carell left.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think Jim and Pam got together a little too early, and the more I rewatch the series, the more I realize that Pam kind of sucks.
What?
Yeah. This is a whole nother podcast.
All right.
Oh my
All
gosh.
right. We're saving it. Make a note.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people heard that and thought, oh, I would rather listen to that. I don't want to listen to them talk about
that.
I don't want to hear them talk about fat people anymore. Oh, jeez. All right. So, yeah. So, like, the show is about a woman who is delusional. I would say that that's the theme of this show of this episode at least, is playing the victim, becoming delusional about who you are and the situation you're in and what you're doing, and then how that affects the people around you.
Yes.
What else? I wrote down some other stuff. What was it? Oh, that was the world's tallest physical therapist.
Yes.
He had a duck under a normal door, which makes him at least 9 feet tall. I don't know how tall doors are.
And which makes it kind of wonder, like, the strength he has, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how strong tall, lanky people are, but...
They kept talking about her funeral, and all you can imagine, too, is, like, the casket and, like...
How big.
God, that's
piano crate.
This got really... God, this got dark. Okay.
It's the good stuff.
One of her quotes that I wrote down was when she got to the hospital and was so overwhelmed, she says, "No one told me I had to lose weight here."
Yes.
Which is a great pull quote.
I was hoping you would bring that up. Just like, she had a lot of quotable moments. Like, also did you notice her self-deprecating humor?
A couple moments, yeah. She was funny at some point.
She was. You would think she's almost like charming a little bit too. Like, you know.
Well, that probably plays really well into playing the victim.
I mean, yeah. If you're,
it keeps Edgar around.
It sure does. I mean, he bought her ice cream and it wasn't on the list, the grocery list. I mean, hey, that's love. She charmed her way.
Yep.
Into this 2 pints of Ben and Jerry's.
I'll do it.
I wonder if one of those is fish food. That's my favorite flavor, I have to say.
Yeah.
But,
the phrase that came to mind, and this is one of those. Do you ever hear like a turn of phrase and you're like, oh, I want to use that as soon as I can, so I sound as cool as that person who said it did?
Okay, go ahead and say.
She used a lot of mental gymnastics.
Oh, okay.
Which, having talked about it like that makes it not sound as cool of a turn of phrase as it is, but I wanted to make sure that the words mental gymnastics came in.
Okay. I mean, she did say something about, there's this one part where the only way in and out of her house is when the fire department they come and basically carry her out on stretcher, basically, whatever, like a sheet, basically. Right. And there's one part where she's being dragged
on the floor
by like 5 guys. And at one point she's like, "Can you put me over your head and pretend I'm Cleopatra?" I'm like, "Yeah, girl. Yes."
Yeah.
Yes, queen. Girl power.
Oh, I'm so ready for 2017 to be done with.
Hashtag girl boss. Shove it in your face. Are you proud to be a white man right now? Anyways.
Yeah.
But she, there's a lot of talk about her she's like, "See, I'm missing a role. Oh, look at all this, loose skin." Of course, obviously, she's gained weight since post-procedure.
Right.
Patients typically lose, like, a couple 100 pounds.
She's supposed to drop down to, like, 250 within, like, a month.
Yeah.
And she's still at, like, 490 or something.
But I love, like I said, as a nurse, I love watching the nurse in the room whenever she's like having her mental breakdown about how she didn't know she was supposed to lose weight,
right,
basically. And you can just see the nurse's face in the corner, just like she wants to like smile and like just shake her head so bad, but she knows she's on camera. And even with Dr. Now, there are points when he's just like looking at her and he's like, "This bitch." Seriously.
Well, it does feel like towards the end where he's just, it's almost like the second half of the whole episode, he's just like washing his hands clean, where he's like, "I've done everything that I possibly can. And when she dies, I had nothing, I did everything good. I followed there's the actual oath, my Hippocratic oath. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, hey, to the best of my ability.
For sure. I like watching bad patients because when I have bad patients, there's a part of me, obviously, that wants, hates my life, hates my job at that moment. But there's just something about a bad patient that just brings all the nurses together. And I don't know, it makes for an interesting shift, basically. And seeing her and her just having these meltdowns it touched me.
Could you imagine being living a bedridden life before the internet or TV?
Oh, and you just had to sit there?
Yeah, because she was in that bed 24/7.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Half the shots of her on her phone.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so that was my 600-pound life. Made it through it.
Yes, highly, highly recommend to anybody listening. Kelly, I know.
We should start just doing personal podcasts. We'll just pick one person and go through all this effort
for one person.
Personalized, just single use podcast. Well, we're available for birthday presents or Christmas presents this year. Your own 50-minute long podcast just for you. We'll talk about just the things that you want to hear.
We make great gifts.
Okay, so that was that. So now we're going to move on to what is ostensibly the greatest pilot ever made, of which you only watched the first part, which is, it's a goof. It's okay.
Know.
It's all right. We'll just talk about what you saw. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Although I am excited about our Office discussion at some point, I have to say. But...
yeah, we'll talk Office.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Lost. You say this is the greatest pilot? Is this just a opinion, a consensus between viewers, or is this
I'm not going to say that I
opinion?
Speak for the entire planet, but of the top 10 lists of pilots that have been made, it generally approaches number one.
Okay.
For most critics, most reviewers, most opinion polls.
When did this come out?
This was 2004.
2004. So we were in the high school.
We were both in the same high school.
Yes.
I was thinking about that. I was trying to remember when I first watched the pilot, because I didn't watch it live. I didn't watch the show live. So that's a different thing for me. Is I am not one of the people who saw it in 2004 and was a weekly viewer until the finale. Mm-hmm. At one point, I think maybe around season 3 or 4, I was in college. Actually, it may have been season 5. I bought the first few seasons on DVD and tried to watch them all. And for whatever reason, I didn't make it through it. I didn't finish it. And then it was 3 years ago, I started it again when I was on Netflix. And this is my worst case of binging anything. I binged the entire 6th season, 121 hours of the show in 2 weeks.
What were you doing in these 2 weeks?
This was in between jobs, as I like to call it. I was in California, and I was not working at the time. And I did. I had I had a roommate at the time, and people were concerned. But I did. I watched the whole thing in it was 2 to 3 weeks. I was watching consecutively. I guess I was over. Yeah, a little while there.
When you say concerned,
they were like,
Steven?
You need to do other things.
You're gonna put on pants today?
Yeah. It wasn't a great time. But the show
that's neither here nor there.
The show, for me, watching it, consuming it in that way, in such a short amount of time, made it like reading a book, which I think a lot of people have experienced. Anybody who's binge watched a show, I think will say that it's more akin to reading a novel, where you're absorbing so much and the episodes kind of get blurred together and it almost becomes its own experience in a way.
Okay, yeah.
As opposed to watching it on a week-to-week basis, which with this show was such a part of the zeitgeist of the time of
Good word.
It's a little redundant, zeitgeist of the time. But anyways, I hate myself. And it was a lot of people were very frustrated with the show watching it that way because they felt that it didn't give them these answers that they were looking for. And that's a lot of people's memory of this show, is, oh, this is the show that was really cool at the beginning, and then it got really bad, and then they all hated finale. Because there was this anticipation that had been built up over 6 years.
Mm. Is it like how in Sopranos, everyone was pissed off at the ending? That kind of a deal? Well, I guess any show really, right?
Well, it was... If you like, you can go really in depth and like reading interviews and stuff with Damon Lindelof, who's the creator of it, with J.J. Abrams, and then Carlton Hughes hopped on as a showrunner. Actually, when the Sopranos finale came out, they realized, oh, you can do... They saw that as like a gimme in a way of like, oh, you can end a show on your own terms if you want to. It sort of almost gave them a free pass in a way. I may be getting that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's how the order of things went. But anyways, the pilot at the time was the most expensive pilot ever made. They spent like $10 to $14 million on it. Shot it in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Which honestly, before watching the show, Hawaii wasn't really on my radar. Like, I knew Hawaii was supposed to be great. Like, Hawaii in like the sense of like, yeah, okay, I'm sure everybody wants to go to Hawaii.
But it wasn't until a show about stranded people in just a dire situation that just, you know what, Hawaii, man, yeah.
Hawaii just revealed itself.
Exactly.
Beneath its primal. It was just sort of like this ambiguous thing. It was sort of like when I moved to Los Angeles. I had no clue what Los Angeles looked like until I was there.
Yeah.
And I'd never really seen Hawaii except for like Lilo and Stitch, which meant I'd never seen Hawaii before. So in my head, it was just like, oh, it's a really expensive vacation that my parents took their honeymoon to.
Yeah.
So I'd never been. I'd never really seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But now I've lived in that world vicariously through the show. And I get it.
And
I want to go to Hawaii now.
Because of Lost.
Shut up. You shut your mouth.
I mean, my knowledge of Hawaii is, like Johnny Tsunami on Disney Channel.
You lost me there.
Oh, dang.
That is a reference I do not.
We'll put that on the list for you to watch.
I didn't have cable until like my senior year of high school.
Oh, fa.
We lived on the sticks. I watched a lot of PBS. Which I'm going to make you watch some PBS. It's going to be great.
Okay. All right. Fair. So going into this, I've heard what's the twist or what happens at the end, because people have told me before. And only because in the past I was like, I'm never going to watch that show. You can go ahead and tell me what happens.
What did people tell you?
Okay. Someone told me that basically that everyone is dead, and this is just like a what if kind of a situation, like OJ if I had done it kind of a situation, and that the people who died or people who are on the island are dead, and then people who are dead are alive or something like that.
You need to tell your friend
to fuck off.
That they're a big dumb idiot and they don't know what the show is about.
Okay, so that's not it.
No. Well, that's a lot of people. This is one of those things where it's like, I don't want to spoil anything for you because I think you should watch it.
Okay.
But whether or not you want to watch it is something we'll have to talk about too, because you may have watched it and be like, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
And maybe the fact that somebody told you that affects what you think what the show is going to be later on.
True.
And so that would maybe prevent you from watching it. But I will say that is a very glib and largely inaccurate take on the show.
So I should stop being friends with this person.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
But you should question all their opinions and everything they ever tell you ever again.
Understood. Okay. Another theory about the show I heard from 30 Rock, my favorite show ever, where one part it's like the character Jenna is talking to some of the writers on the show, and then she's like, yeah, Lost, it's all Hurley's dream or something. That's what she said. That's the only other Lost quote I know about.
That's your only other point of reference.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so
a little one-off liner from 30 Rock.
So there's my other.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that is the answer to the show, so you don't need to watch it.
Gotcha.
No, it's, and again, I think that's one of the weird advantages of having watched it through streaming and getting to watch all these episodes back to back to back. I think it's a lot clearer what happens in the story, because a lot of the people that complained about it, there was a really good interview or bad interview, however you want to look at it, that I think it was on The Verge did, where this guy like went and basically was the voice of everybody's beef with Lost and all the things that everybody was confused about, and like the biggest complaint is like all these questions that never got answered.
Okay.
Because the show is ostensibly a mystery. I've used the word ostensibly too many times. It's essentially a mystery show. So it's all these mysteries that keep getting revealed.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it was a mystery show.
Yeah.
When really the whole thing is about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
You fall in love with these characters and learn about their story, like their backstory and all that. But this guy did an in-depth interview with Damon Lindelof about all these open-ended strings that never got finished. And Lindelof was able to go through one by one a lot of these points and be like, no, we did answer this. If you watch the show, you'll see that this was this was this. So I think that was the disadvantage of watching it on a week-to-week basis, was you don't have the same... You're not able to retain the same sort of like through line as watching it as like a bigger whole, because it gets so intricate and kind of like convoluted. I'm not saying it's a perfect show by any means. There's a lot of duds in it.
Yeah.
Especially around like the third season, because part of the history of the show is that they were trying to get ABC to let them have an end date for whenever they were going to end the series. And ABC kept pushing back because it was such a successful show, and they wanted to milk it for as many seasons as they possibly could. And they finally did give them, okay, we'll give you the end of the 6th season. That's when you can end it. Because the show hit a point where it was spinning its wheels, for sure. And the writers knew it, and they acknowledged that. And they had a couple of like dud episodes. But once they were given that goal to target to like shoot for, then they were able to like pick up.
Space it out and all that.
So I don't mean to be like a lost apologist, but a lot of the complaints and beef that people have with the show are largely based on misconception.
Okay. I feel like you really want me to love Lost here.
That's one of those weird isolating things about humanity, is like caring so much about this one thing and wanting the people you care about to care about it as much as you do.
And this is what the podcast is about.
Yeah, it could be. Yep.
There you go. All right, so here we go. So first thing wow, there's a lot of stuff going on right off the bat, which I like. There are a lot of survivors for, I feel like there are way too many people that survived this thing that I would like. I get, like you said, I knew there were going to be a lot of characters in the show. I knew that going in, but damn, there's a lot of people that survived this crash. I just...
Isn't that mysterious?
Okay. Yep. Let me write that down. Mysterious. But, oh man, now you're making me like,
Well, I think the show does. I mean, we'll get into it.
It's like every little thing in the show, a clue. Is that how this works? Like,
I would say it lends itself to dissection. Sure, there's going to be a lot of that sort of thing. There's going to be a lot of like, oh yeah, like they did this one thing early in the episode, and then they're going to pay it off. The problem with that is what happens as you go along in the series is you do start overanalyzing everything. Where you're like, oh, he's wearing a watch on his left hand. That must mean that he's the guy that did the thing, and blah, blah, blah.
Because,
you'll start looking for clues everywhere.
Yeah, because obviously every choice is on purpose, when it comes to shows. Okay, yeah, so a lot of survivors. Mysterious. Okay, all right, sure. I forgot that Dominic...
Yeah, well, that's Monaghan.
Yeah, I forgot he was in this, and I'm like, oh my god, totally forgot. Like, what was he? When did Lord of the Rings come out?
It would have been. They were out 2001, 2002, 2003. So this would have been like right
after.
I realized that I was trying to put myself back in like 2004 and like all these actors. And I, as a however old, like as a high schooler at that time, the only person who I would have recognized in that cast would have been Mary from Lord of the Rings, for sure. So I think he was like the big star.
Were they like counting on him not counting him, like, I guess. I
don't think that he was like, it wasn't like Dom Monaghan in Lost. I don't think he had that kind of cash, but I think it was more of a like, oh, it's the guy from Lord of the Rings. He's in this show.
Okay. Because I guess back then, wasn't like being on TV like, I mean, not like how it is now, like,
No, that's a fair point. Like, this was a lot of people, if you'll like read like the Wikipedia article and other things, but like a lot of people, what brought them into this project was J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Because J.J. Abrams was doing Alias, and Alias was like the show. That was like the cool thing to be a part of. Was one of those shows. But he was like an up and coming big name at the time. So a lot of people just wanted to work with him. But you're right, it was before It would have been like the very beginning of when TV sort of made that shift into being like the prestige thing that it is.
I mean, did they say at one point being on TV was a career killer, basically, at one point? Yeah, so that's why I'm just curious of him being on there. But anyway, so I noticed he was on there and I totally forgot. Like I said, there's just a lot going on in the first, couple of minutes and stuff. And I'm like, let's see. I said the intro really grabbed me. Guy gets sucked in the engine and blows up. Awesome. Okay. And then the wing is about to fall on some people. Okay, cool. And then someone's pregnant. And I put, of course someone is pregnant. Of course someone is 8 months pregnant on this thing, on this freaking island. Let's see.
What do you think about the lead character being a medical professional?
What a fox.
You know what? That's it. That's it for the podcast.
That's all the time we have.
We're done.
Yeah, like I even put down, what did I put? I wrote down a little breakdown of the characters and what I named them. Because you don't know some of the names.
I want to hear this.
And I put Jack, hot doctor of my dreams. And what did I say? And of course he took flying lessons. Because he knows about the transceiver,
right, and that was that was a perfect moment of like a TV writer moment, because I heard that line where he says transceiver, and I was like, who in the world knows what who's ever heard the word transceiver before? And then right after that he says, I took some flying lessons.
Of course you did. You're hot. You're a doctor. And you have your pilot's license.
You want to watch me sew myself up?
That's pretty. That's pretty rad. Yeah. So, okay. I wrote a note about the little golden retriever in the beginning. Yeah. Is that something?
Winston?
Is that his name? No, I put.
Oh, you didn't watch part 2.
No, I didn't. I put Vincent or something.
Vincent, you're right.
I
said
Vincent?
Winston.
Okay.
Why did I say who's Winston? Man.
Ooh.
Have I watched the show before?
I don't think so. I think you're making all this up.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
All right. Okay. So golden retriever. I'm like, ooh, if they're all. I'm watching this thinking that everyone's dead. Keep in mind.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm like,
preconceived notions.
Yeah. So I'm like, ooh, golden retriever. Is he having like? Is reality like melded in this? Like, is the golden retriever even there? Oh my god! and then let's see. The next thing I put. The Korean couple represent. Okay.
I was wondering what your thoughts and take on it are going to be.
They are very Korean. They don't trust Whitey, which is very Korean. I thought Daniel Dae Kim, was he born in Korea or was he born here? Do you know that?
I'm pretty sure he's very American. I know that much. He's talked to him about the show before and how a lot of the Korean that he speaks on the show
is it phonetically?
It's a lot of it's not great.
Yeah.
Whereas the woman playing Sun, I can't remember her name.
But she is like legit.
Yes, she's like a South Korean movie star.
Yeah. Okay, because I definitely picked up on that just because when he was, speaking in Korean, I'm thinking, he sounds like me when I speak Korean, which is not very good. Yeah. So I figured something was going on there. But
Yoonjin Kim is her name.
Yeah, so I could, they are, like I said, very Korean, not trusting the white people.
Oh, he was born in South Korea.
Was he?
Yeah.
But he's Americanized, like you said.
Yeah, I think he was raised. It looks like he went to high school in Pennsylvania.
Oh, well, there you go.
So.
And I see all these characters and like, I'm thinking, okay, how invested do I need to be in these characters? Because how many of them are going to be dead by the time episode 3 rolls around?
Well, there's an interesting thing with that because the original version of the pilot, which you haven't watched the whole thing yet, but the original...
As you like to say over and over again.
It said part 1.
Fine.
Early drafts of it, like when they were developing the project, originally was going to have Michael Keaton play the role of Jack.
What?
And he was going to die in the middle of the episode.
Of the pilot?
Yes.
And then what?
And then it was going to be like, I think they had like the part of Kate played by like someone a little bit older than her, but she was going to be the one who like takes over like leading the group to survive.
Wait, so they were going to have Michael Keaton, who is a big star at this point, just die in the middle of the pilot.
Right. Which the reason they didn't do that was because the producers or the ABC execs said, no audience will ever trust you if you kill off the main star in the beginning. And once they changed it to where Jack was going to live, then Michael Keaton pulled out. Didn't want to be in it anymore. But what's funny is now we live in a world post Game of Thrones where it's almost like we're expecting that. We're expecting somebody to get killed off. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, of course.
So like now it's like we've been re-educated in a way to not trust showrunners anymore. So that's fascinating. Now you're watching it maybe with that mindset of Game of Thrones and thinking like, oh, nobody's safe. They're all going to die.
Yeah.
When you have to keep in mind this is like an ABC show from 2004.
Yeah. Good point.
I'm not saying nobody's dying. But.
Well, yeah. But, you know, I really feel like our English teachers would be very proud of us right now, just breaking down stuff like this. But that is a really good point. But, yeah, like I said, I didn't want to be too invested yet in these characters.
Guarding your heart.
Yes. I've been hurt before.
Yeah.
God. Okay, then it comes to the flashback part on the plane, which I enjoy a flashback. Mm-hmm. I really do.
Well, that's this show.
It is? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, because I wrote down, obviously we're going to have more flashbacks.
Yep.
And I put a note that I don't know her name. I don't think it was said, but the black woman. I wrote down that poor woman, her husband is in the bathroom when the plane.
Yeah, he's in the tail section.
Yeah. So he's like taking a crap, and then can you imagine like just dying while taking a crap, or like you're in the middle of doing your business and you just get sucked out.
Yeah.
That's like people's fear, isn't it?
Worst way to go.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the worst way, but that would be a pretty bad way.
That would not be the worst way to go. Being sucked out of the tail end of an airplane.
You recently told me a nursing horror story of something. It was poop related, but I would say it's a worse way to die.
Okay, to be fair, she was out of it. She didn't know what was going on. This poor man who he was very aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I put down some characters. Okay, so I put Jack, hot doctor of my dreams. Kate, ambiguous white woman. Very vanilla at this point, I think. Then I put Saeed, right?
Yep.
And Hagrid. I put Preggers. Preggers and Hagrid, love connection? I don't know, maybe. Put my two cousins. I put Old Man Scar, who seems like the villain. I mean, he's got the scar.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there's something going on there.
There's a very famous character, a villain, whose name is Scar. So, and then I put the vape couple. It's the young couple. The girl's like a bitch, and she doesn't want to eat chocolate.
Yeah.
The guy,
Shannon and Boone.
His name is Boone.
His name is Boone. Ian Smolderholder. It's Ian Somerhalder.
Oh my god.
He's in like a vampire show, isn't he?
Yeah. I was thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. He looks like Ian, whatever. And I'm like, no, but he's like, it would be like his little brother. But duh, this is 2004.
Yeah, this was...
Wow.
13 years ago.
That sure is him. His name is Boone, seriously?
Boone!
This is Christian name, Boone. Is his first name or is his last name?
I think it's his first name.
Oh my god.
Boone.
Does she die? I hope she dies. Or does she get better? Does she redeem herself?
I don't know.
Really? We're doing that? Okay.
Well, I'm not gonna. I think people would be upset if I spoiled this for you.
You think so?
Serious Lost fans would be like, don't ruin it for her. Like this. I think you can identify anybody who is a big fan of a show, of any show, even for you, like any show that you're like a huge fan of. You wish that you could go back,
watch it for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's sort of what happens when you hear about somebody else.
Are you watching it for the first time with me?
Yeah, the next best thing is to vicariously have somebody else experience it for the first time.
Okay. All right, fine. So the dog, we see the dog again at this point, and I wrote, "Dear God, if the dog is real, I hope the dog doesn't die." Because when a dog dies in a show or a movie, I'm just immediately turned off.
Yeah.
You lost me. I can't trust you.
Yeah.
There's a website that is like doesthedogdie.com or something like that, and you type in a movie, and it basically tells you if the dog dies or not.
It's like the parent's guide, but for letting you know for the animals.
Exactly. Which, whoever came up with that, genius.
The dog doesn't die in the story, but 4 dogs died making the movie.
What?
That needs to be part of like the website.
Okay. Oh my God.
You don't see a dog die on screen, but you just so you know, ASPCA was up the ass on this one.
Okay, then they go on their little excursion in the woods, the jungle or wherever they are, to find the cockpit.
Yep.
And they find it, and the pilot is alive. And I'm like, the character or the actor, I'm like, oh, that guy.
Yep.
I don't know what else he's been in that I know.
Krenberg. I knew he was like in a lot of J.J. Abrams stuff, but apparently he was like a childhood friend or something.
Oh,
like
okay.
That. He's the guy. He's in Heroes. That's not J.J.
Yes,
Abrams, but he was in Heroes. He had like a cameo in Star Wars.
Yeah. Rogue One.
No, Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
And was he in Star Trek? I don't know, but he hops in a lot of J.J. Abrams stuff. That would be a cool friend to have.
J.J. Abrams.
Yep. Why didn't we go to high school with J.J. Abrams?
I don't know. I need to ask my parents that. But of course, he dies.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Pretty gruesomely.
Well,
Gets yoinked right out of the front window.
Maybe at the time, he wasn't that guy, but I didn't think they would kill off him right
after. They kill off the Grunberg?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know how many credits he had at that time where he was that guy, but they killed him off really fast, and I just was kind of surprised by that.
This is all before Heroes, so
was
I
it?
don't think he was
okay. So that's fair.
I don't think he's a big name now. I think,
but he's definitely that guy.
Yeah, sure.
So, I just thought that was interesting.
That guy that gets killed and everything.
Exactly. Okay, so let's see. They're 1,000 miles off course, allegedly, so no one's gonna find them, of course.
Yep.
I put "Dear God," and okay, so the monster thing are the rustlings in the jungle. I'm assuming it's like some kind of monster or other.
That's what they call it, is the monster.
The monster.
For now.
Okay. Yeah. I heard that I don't know, I heard it from a show or from someone that it's like a polar bear situation.
Well, it's a thought.
Okay.
You're not too far off with saying that polar bears are a thing involved with the show.
Which kind of takes me out of it a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah. Should it?
It does smell a bit of what's the weirdest thing we could put on this island?
Yeah.
It's tropical. Wait a second. I got just the thing. I guarantee that.
Okay. And I didn't think it would be in the first episode. I thought it would be coming along a little bit further down.
Yeah.
The series, but
no, it gets weird quick.
Does it?
Yep. They jump in real fast.
I mean, is it a thing that is just remains a mystery for the whole 6 seasons or however many seasons?
Just
because I hear about it so much, like even towards the end, so I didn't know if...
About the monster?
Yeah.
No, that's something that's explored, and like you end up figuring that out and what's going on there.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's revealed over time, for sure.
Is the monster mortality?
Was it myself?
Was it? Oh my dreams.
It's all in your brain.
Okay. And then, so this is my fault because I didn't know there was a part 2, but I wrote, it just ended.
It felt a lot like a commercial break.
It really, really did.
What is the last moment of the first?
It's a shot of the pilot bloody in the trees.
Right.
And then it cuts off.
Right.
And I turned it off.
Tune in next week.
Exactly. And because I just put like, Wow. All right. I mean, that's one way to make us tune in. But I don't know. I guess it's my fault. It's definitely my fault that I didn't watch the second part.
Well, you know what? We could probably just come back. We'll come back. We'll tack on the rest of the pilot.
Okay.
We'll talk about it once you've finished it.
Yeah. I put a part that freaked me out the most probably was not even like a jump scare or anything like that or monster related. It's the part where the old man with the scar, when Kate was looking at him on the beach and he had the orange peel in his mouth, that orange slice, and he smiled. Thought that freaked me out.
I love that since you've only watched the first part of it, a lot of these, like, I think it's obvious are going to be like main characters, haven't said a word yet.
Exactly. I don't know their names.
I'm not saying he gets any less creepy, but it is funny that you're like, it's just like this guy who eats oranges and he's got a scar.
He's definitely gonna be I feel like he's gonna be a bad guy. I feel like Charlie. Mm-hmm. I thought he was like some criminal at first, but turns out he's a musician.
He's a rock star.
And what?
You are everybody.
Yeah. Something's going on in the bathroom. I don't know if it's...
What is he doing?
I don't know. I'm thinking he's getting his balloon of cocaine that he pooped out, is what I'm thinking.
Interesting thought.
Yeah.
Interesting thought. You know what? It's kind of fun. You trying to guess like the second half of an episode.
I feel like this is...
Maybe that's a podcast. I'm going to watch the first half of an episode and try to guess
fill in
what
the blanks. Yeah,
next.
I feel like you're having fun. I feel like Lost fans are having fun.
Oh, for sure.
Watching me.
Anybody who's seen the series, and you'll say some things. You've said some things along the way where it's like, interesting take.
Okay. My predictions.
Hit it.
Obviously, Kate and Jack are going to hook up. Okay.
What other purpose could she possibly serve?
Truly. I mean, if they're stranded long enough, I don't know how long they're stranded on this island. Procreation.
You see this as a true survival story.
Yes, exactly.
It's all surface level.
It's
a plane crash on an island, and they got to make society last.
Yes, this is very much
Gilligan's Island.
Yes. Yeah. And she is Ginger. No, she is. I don't know. I don't think. Well, then again, I don't know what the twist is at the end of the story, but I predict they don't get off the island. Like I said, I'm going to call him the bad guy because he's the bad guy to me. He's going to have his own group, and him and the hot doctor, they're going to have little confrontation of these two groups, thinking one knows best. Don't really know what Hagrid's purpose is yet. I really don't know at this point.
Keeper of keys and grounds at Hogwarts.
He's going to tame some animals on the island. He's going to tame the monster. That's what he's going to do. Let's see.
Monster, Harry.
I feel like Saeed is some kind of like scientist or something, and he's gonna come in handy. Charlie, I think, is just gonna be a piece of crap. He's the guy that gets in everyone's way, who's trying to do productive things.
Yeah.
And like I said, I hope that vape couple girl, die.
Hope she bites it.
Yes.
I gotta say, I love this. I love hearing some of it's very prescient, some of it's like, oh bless.
Oh, honey.
But some of that stuff would be answered with the rest of the pilot. But some of that stuff is like, so you may be right, you may be wrong. We'll see. Or will we see? I don't know. Are you going to watch any more of it? Do you want to watch any more of it?
That's a question that I was going to ask you about 600 Pound Life. Is this something that you would watch again? For me, with Lost, I think this is something I could get on board with.
Sure.
As long as the dog doesn't die.
Yeah.
If it's real. Why would... Well, yeah. Is the dog real? Can you answer that?
I would say... Yeah. I mean, I will say it's
oh my God. It's not real, is it? It's someone's imagination.
No. I don't want to... By saying that the dog's real, I'm saying that everybody's real, which is what the case. I'll just say that. I don't think that that's going to ruin anything for you. Everything is happening.
Okay.
Everything's actually happening.
Gotcha. Okay.
So your friend was wrong.
Okay.
Because I think that's affecting how you're watching the show
I think it is too.
a lot. So I'm going to say that in the pilot, all that you're seeing happen
Is happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the dog is real.
Okay. I think me thinking that everyone's dead obviously would make me...
It does feel a bit like there's a... And I'm not blaming you for this at all, because I think this is a lot of people's take on the show. It's affected other people. There's a bit of watching it with your arms crossed. Like a corner of the eye kind of a thing. Like a,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But really, though, this is a dream, and I don't want to get caught with my pants around my ankles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Was this... When this aired, were people losing their minds?
Oh, it was huge. It was... Yeah, like you go back and watch like talk show clips of like Jimmy Kimmel and things like that. Like everybody was obsessed. There's a particular mystery in the first season that you'll get to a few episodes in that everybody latches on to, and they're like, I need to know what this is. And I think you'll recognize it. I think it was such a thing in the ether that when you see it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. I remember hearing people talk about this thing. Mm-hmm. It was the biggest thing in the world.
What other shows? Do you know what other shows were airing around that time? I mean,
it started. I think it started the same time as like Grey's Anatomy. It was a big ABC time. I feel like Grey's Anatomy. The biggest other like big show was Wisteria Lane. What's that?
Desperate Housewives.
Yes, that was a big thing at the time.
Okay, all right.
But it was before like people were really taking HBO. I mean, HBO was doing stuff at the time. They had shows, obviously, but
yeah, Taxi Cab Confessions.
Yeah, it wasn't Game of Thrones.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm sure I would have enjoyed it more if I watched the second half.
I could see that putting a bad taste in your mouth, for sure. Okay, so what you're hearing right now is taking place a few days after the initial recording of our pilot episode of I'm Making You Watch This. Still just rolls off. That's so good.
I'm liking it. Yeah.
We had a little bit of confusion about what constituted the pilot of Lost, and so
in other words, I didn't read the title when it played on Netflix. It clearly said Part 1, and I was very oblivious to that. So
now we're going to talk about the rest of Part 2 of Lost pilot, of the Lost pilot. English is my first language. I want everybody to know that. Anyway, so Part 2, we left off with, what was the last thing in Part 1? It was the pilots
in the trees.
In the tree,
bloody,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it just ended, and I was very upset.
Right. So back from commercial break,
yeah.
3 days later,
yes.
Angela's had time to digest, and I believe has actually gone on to watch a little bit more.
I have. I think into like episode 6 or so. So I think I'm watching Lost now.
I think we need to keep a score going of who
is that
gets
how
somebody
it works?
into a show.
That needs to be part of it.
This is my backdoor idea of we're gonna have a scoreboard of who's gonna.
Well, Steven 1, Angela 0 at this point.
There you go.
Okay.
So Part 2, why don't you walk me through the rest of your viewing experience of Lost?
Yeah. So it's gonna be challenging to talk about the second half of the pilot, having watched more into the series and like more things are revealed, mysteries are revealed, so it's gonna be hard to try to go back into that mindset where don't really know anything, don't really know too much. But
well, listening back to what we talked about, it's interesting. Some of the questions that you had would have been immediately answered
if I had paid attention to what the title said.
Right, watching the rest of it. 'Cause I know like a bunch of the characters hadn't been introduced yet. Like Locke hadn't really been introduced.
Right.
We didn't see Charlie's flashback isn't until the second half of the episode. We didn't find out that he's a heroin addict. You were close. Balloon of cocaine was close.
I knew drugs were involved, and
yes,
I was
for sure.
Yeah.
So what else went down in the rest of the episode?
I think it opens up with this flashback, and then, like I said, I called it drugs in the bathroom. Totally called it.
Good read.
I think earlier when I called them the vape couple, Boone and Shannon or whatever, I thought they were a couple, brother and sister.
Right.
And his name is Boone, which is
Boone.
upsetting.
What is his last? Does he have a last name? Did you look it up?
I haven't. heard. They haven't said it in the
Is
show.
it Carmichael? Why am I thinking Carmichael? I think it might be. I think it might be Carmichael. Boone and Shannon. Did they have? I don't think they had the same last. I don't remember.
Does she die? I still hate her. Still hate her. Well, okay. Then we go back into, what is he? My Korean cousins. Still okay. What did I write? Daniel. Oh, so we kind of go into the relationship between the Korean couple. What are their names in the show?
Jin and Sun.
Jen and Sun?
Yeah.
Is that her real name too? Sun? No.
No, it's Yoonjin.
Yoonjin. Wow. All right. Well, go into that kind of relationship, and See, now I'm thinking about, like, okay, so I know she knows English, or she learned English, but I didn't know this in the second half, so it's hard to talk about the second part because I know things, and I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Oh, you mean in later episodes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
because
she's
you find
revealed
out
that she secretly knows English.
Yes.
See,
But
I couldn't remember
at
when
this,
that happened in the series.
in the second half, we don't know.
Right,
So,
correct. Yeah, that's not revealed yet.
yeah. But I can go ahead and talk about things that are revealed. Sure,
Talk
why
about what
not?
you want to
Okay.
talk about. It's lost.
Okay. Scene by scene. Okay, so Hagrid, his name is Hurley. He's Hurley. I didn't know who Hurley was.
Was that a name that you had heard before?
Hurley?
Yeah.
Yes.
In relation to Lost, yeah.
Yes. I knew Hurley was important. Didn't know who Hurley was. That was my pen clicking in my hand. Okay. Then Saeed, we find out that he was a military communications officer, which is not too far from my prediction.
You had the right idea. He's going to be the tech guy.
Yeah,
He's the one
which he pulled through. Still don't know too much about Locke. His name isn't revealed just yet, I think. I still called him Old Man Scar.
Mm-hmm.
And the handcuffs that were just kind of laying there, and people were trying to figure out who the handcuffs belonged to, and I thought they were supposed to be on Locke
Right.
at this point. But, whoa, Kate was in the handcuffs. And the flashback, and so you see a guy on the beach who has been injured with the shrapnel in his gut, and you don't see his face for, the majority of the episode. And then I'm like, okay, well, this guy's dead. He's not important. They're not really showing him or whatever. And then, oh my gosh, turns out, I'm assuming he's some sort of law enforcement.
He's a marshal.
Marshal.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's also a character in Supernatural.
Is he really?
Yes, in the very beginning of Supernatural, he plays the yellow-eyed demon.
Huh.
Yeah. So when I saw him, of course, I freaked out. Yeah. And he's kind of the same character, typecast, I guess. But
he just plays douchebags.
He just has that face.
Mm.
And really straight teeth.
I didn't notice the teeth.
Yeah, very straight teeth. And so we see a gun arrive somehow in this episode. I think in this part, Sawyer was holding the gun, and people were just kind of figuring out how he got the gun on the plane. I was wondering how a lot of things got on the plane. I think there was a gun.
Well, the gun is, you could explain with
Right.
the marshal.
Yes, that. And then there was...
Which is an interesting thing is if sort of one of the behind the scenes things. I hate that I know so much of this, but also I'm kind of proud that I know so much about this.
It's okay. You can look at my notes while you're
I'm a big fan.
waxing.
I'm a big fan. The guns were a particular challenge for writing the show because there's going to be more guns throughout the series, and they have to keep track of where they all are. And they had like a writer's assistant whose specific job was he had to keep track of who has the gun where. Because they can't make, like you were saying, they can't make a gun just materialize out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. It's not like 24 or something like that, where just guns are aplenty wherever you want them. Mm-hmm. But maybe that wasn't that interesting. Maybe that'll get cut too.
That was interesting. I like these fun facts. Okay. It ends, I think... So we find out that the shrapnel guy is, I put the demon cop. Then they go into find the they go on a quest into the jungle somehow, and they find a frequency that's playing on loop.
Right.
And it's basically been playing for 16 years.
She's been dead for 40 years.
It was very creepy. I got kind of really creeped out by that part, I have to say.
How much of that do you think was related to the fact that it was French?
0.
Zero. No, we're not going to follow that bit. That bit's dead.
I know. Yeah.
That bit was a sacrifice on the altar of podcasts.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. We're a team, I guess. I guess we're partners in this.
We have really great chemistry.
Oh, geez.
Oh.
Wait. Well, the biggest thing I think that was a reveal in the second part of the episode was you had specifically heard something about polar bears, and then a polar bear turns up.
I almost said not the second episode, the second part of the first episode. Yes. And like I said, I didn't think it was going to show up this early in the game.
Right.
But it did.
But it wasn't. A polar bear couldn't have pulled that pilot out of that cockpit, though.
Do I know the strength and skills of a polar bear? No, I don't. He very well could have, right?
Is that the first polar bear that's ever seen a tree before?
I don't know.
I'm imagining a world where zoos don't exist.
I don't.
Apparently.
What did they do with it after? Did they eat it?
You know, that's a good question. Do they use all parts of the polar bear? It's survival, yeah. Because I think one of the next episodes that they have a running the problem of running out of food. So they have to go hunting. But they've got all that polar bear meat just rotting in the woods.
I bet they regretted not salvaging that.
What does polar bear taste like?
Very gamey.
Yeah? What does gamey mean? Is that just a catch-all for anything that doesn't taste like chicken?
I guess. You know, I actually had deer for the first time the other day. Deer jerky.
Yeah?
Not gamey.
No?
But then again, what do I know what gamey tastes like?
I don't know that gamey
I don't
means
think anyone knows
much of anything.
No. People just say that it sounds cool.
Yeah. So are there any other thoughts you had on part 2 of Lost?
Not part 2 of Lost, but I mean, I do have thoughts, obviously, on the rest of what I saw.
I think we could check back in, every couple episodes to see how far you've gotten, assuming that you keep watching it. I think we'll just have a segment called, "Hey, Angela, how's Lost?"
Although Netflix, I think, is going to stop showing Lost in January.
What?
That's what I think I saw. I thought I saw.
I need to do a rewatch then. Are you serious?
I think when they started, I saw something in the very corner of the screen. Showing until January something.
I wonder if that's what's happening. I think Netflix might be getting gutted because I think everybody's getting their own streaming services. And I know Disney is one of the ones that's supposed to have their own service coming up. So,
well, Netflix is also raising their prices, I think.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm.
Man. So what's happening, and I know a lot of people have already talked about this on different forums or whatever, is all these companies, CBS, Disney, they're going to make their own streaming services, and the consumer is going to wish that they had some magic box where they could watch all of these different channels in one.
What could that be?
That sounds familiar. So you're 6-ish episodes in. Mm-hmm. You saw Locke get out of the wheelchair, which is,
yes,
for a lot of people, that was it. That's what really sunk them into the show.
Even after him being revealed that he works in just a cubicle job,
right.
I was drawn in
because you assume he's Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, of course. But no, I mean, that was a really sad episode.
Yeah, you can't tell me what I can't do.
No, poor guy. Well,
this is my destiny.
I mean, he's really doing the darn thing in the jungle, though.
Yeah,
I have to say.
And then I think the most prescient thing that you said, and I've already used that word once. Prescient. What's a better word than prescient? I think the most oracle-like statement that you made was you saw a splitting of two parties.
Yeah.
Of Locke and Jack.
But nay. I mean, that I've seen.
Yeah.
Now it's Kate / Saeed and Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at this point, I don't know what Kate did in her previous.
Pretty sure that's the name of an episode later on down the line. It's called What Kate Did. I'm not kidding.
Really?
I think that's the name of an episode.
Oh.
I've never been the guy who's like, oh yeah, I know all the names of all the episodes of any show. I have friends who could do that. I was like, all right, so what you just listened to was us going back, finishing up Lost Part Deuce, and we're gonna drop that right back in, and then hopefully it'll just mesh like magic.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a little sad that now, I don't know, I feel like I see how I see how much
this is the podcast life. This is just going with the flow.
I just see how much you're enjoying me. Because if I were in your shoes, I would be having a ball too. Like,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Well, I think that's probably about it, huh? Oh my gosh, did we just do a podcast?
I think we just did something.
Just did a podcast?
Is it any good? We'll find out after you edit this sucker.
Who knows? Who cares? We had fun.
Basically, if we had any sponsors, this is where we would interject, our sponsorship.
We would like to whore ourselves out.
I mean,
so hard.
There's no shame.
We would sell out for pennies.
Please, anybody.
We are so cheap.
I mean, Casper mattress, Blue Apron. Are we allowed to if we say these companies, do we get the sponsorships?
Those are like the white whales. Those are like the big ones. Yeah.
Do we set up like
meetings? Is it too early?
Well, I was gonna say, like, how do people contact us? Is there a way? Do we set that up now or later?
We're focusing on the wrong thing. Let's just make.
Though?
Let's just make a good pod. Let's just focus on that pod life.
I thought we agreed off air that the reason we're doing this is for the money. I want to quit my job and do this full time. Okay.
Oh, jeez, Louise. Yeah.
But. Working title, I'm making you watch this.
I'm making you watch this. I think it rolls off the tongue, personally. Yeah. My name is Stephen Bailey.
Angela Kang
is her name. And
yes.
we're a couple of dorks making a podcast. Hope you had fun, and we'll talk to you again later. Bye. Bye.